Hi, this is Jacqueline with Nickel and Dime Decor, and I would like to show you how to make this beauty. I kind of named it Spring Has Sprung, and I want to show you how to make it. It's using English paper piecing, and it'll be a lot of fun to do. So join me and we'll get to work. Thank you. Well, let's talk a minute about English paper piecing and this little jewel. I made this for a table centerpiece. It measures about 9 by 18, 19. It's too big for a placemat, but you could just put your circle right here in the center of it and make it shorter and make placemats. Wouldn't that be pretty? But I named this Spring Has Sprung because it just reminds me so much of all the crocuses and daffodils and everything coming up early in the spring. And I don't have a pattern. I just made it up, and I want to show you how to make it. Now, English paper piecing is old. It's an old hobby, an old craft, but it's coming back, as all things do in cycles. And a lot of websites sell the supplies that you need, which is not much. It's a very cost-efficient hobby. And if you have any scraps at all, you can make so many things. I wanted, my backing is the same. No, yeah, it's the same. But you know, if you get bored, you could turn it this way, I guess, on your table. I'm going to show you how to make this, but I'm going to show you in a different color scheme because I'm making this next one for me. I don't really have anybody to give this to. I don't know of anybody that used blue and yellow, but maybe somebody will want it one of these days. But that is all there is to it, is this little ring, this little circle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hexagons. And I added the 3 on each end, which made it really kind of a rectangle. And then I left about 1.5 inches all the way around on each side. And then my little, I put batting and I put a backing, and my binding was 2 1/4, or 2 1/2, like ordinary binding is. And I could have picked any color for my binding, but I chose that to make it pop a little, since the others are so. So that's what I'm going to show you to do. Now, our example of what to do is going to be quite opposite. It's going to be in black and white, and I think I'm going to put it on that. I haven't made up my mind whether this is going to be my backing or it's going to be the front. Excuse me. Okay, here's my ring I've already made. And what I was talking about is putting this on this and making a placemat if you wanted to. And just add, you know, you could add a little pocket for your silverware on one side. Ordinarily, placemats are about 15, 16 inches by 9. 10. So wouldn't that make a beautiful little placemat? Sky's the limit, girls. Sky's the limit. Okay, I chose from this, I chose 2 different patterns, 3 different patterns, 2 of each. And my black is my centerpiece. And I'm going to add black on my sides. And I've just kind of decided no, that's not exactly the way it goes. Let's get it right here. Get it centered there. Now, I want to show you first off the supplies that you need for English paper piecing. Of course, you need a template. And this is a 2-inch hexagon. And I left a piece of tape on there because when you're cutting, I have a little rotary cutting pad, and it turns, you can turn it, and this doesn't slip and slide with that on there. And you cut your fabric out, just like that. And this is such a good hobby to do at night after you've cut all of your pieces. If you, on your little tray, make you a kind of little tray and set it on your lap, and while you're watching TV, just go to work. I buy all of my English paper piecing supplies at a website called Paper Pieces. You can buy them in multiple places, but that's where I get mine. And see, it's allowing for a 1/4 inch. Well, a lot of people sewed their fabric on by hand, and I think that's what turned me off of English paper piecing. You know, they would hold this, and then they would fold it over, and then they would whip stitch it all around. My gracious, it took so much time. So I want to show you that there's much simpler and faster ways. And that's to glue your fabric. You have a glue stick. This is from Sue Daly. Sue Daly is a wonderful teacher of English paper piecing. And you can buy the refills. And you want to just barely put your glue on the tip of the fabric. Don't have to go overboard, and try to keep it even on all sides. Turn it, and there. Then turn it counterclockwise, I guess that is, and just keep going around. I know I'm getting glue on my tablecloth, but I forgot to put, I would recommend you get a piece of wax paper and put it down, and it saves from a mess. But this is not my regular tablecloth, so we're good to go. I went to a English paper piecing class just the other day and enjoyed it very much and learned some tips. I had done English paper piecing, but it never hurts to learn some more. And she showed me that the glue should be on the very end. And that way it doesn't, when you're sewing your pieces together, you don't have a bunch of glue up there. So you want it just on the very tail end. And be sure and get the corner here. So when you fold that down, you're catching it real good. And get both sides. And that's all there is to it. So simple. And I'd still be sewing on that if I was sewing. So I recommend this highly. Now I'm going to show you. I know you might think, well, this isn't for me. I just don't want to. But if you would just try it, just make just make this, if nothing else. And you know, English paper piecing, the templates come in diamonds. It comes in hexagons. It comes in paragons. It comes in I can't think of the other word, but it comes in so many shapes. They have perfected the art of English paper piecing, that's for sure. Now, when you start on this, you are going to sew your pieces together all the way across. It's gonna be, you won't have all this, of course, so, but I'll show you. You're gonna sew this, sew this, sew this, all the inner pieces. You're gonna sew those first. And I'm gonna sew one for you and show you. You're gonna do all that. Now right there, you can see that you can see my thread a little bit, but you know what? I'm going back over this. See how this is? I did this by machine and went over it to secure it on the back. I could have just sprayed it on there and appliqued it around the edges, but I wanted to go all the way over everything. And I used variegated thread on this. I don't know that you can see it, but oh, it made it so pretty. I really liked that variegated thread, and I had never used it because I didn't have any opportunity and didn't have any use for it, but I love the way that turned out. So my little thread showing right there and right there a little bit isn't going to matter, and I haven't decided whether I'm going to use black or white thread. I used a little small zigzag that just went right across. And of course, after you've done your English paper piecing, I told you that you're going to do all these first. I'm getting ahead of myself. When you sew all of these on first, then you've got all these edges right here that you need to sew, and you think, oh gosh, that's kind of hard to do. But it's not really. It's really not. I'll show you when we add this in just a minute, and we'll sew it together. But after you've made all of them that you're going to make, when you have them all on there, all 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, there's 13 hexagons. There's 5 down this row, and then 4 and 4, which is 13. Okay. Then, after you've done all 13, you're going to take your papers out. But you want to leave that in there because it gives you good stability to sew on it. So leave it on there until you get all 13 of them done. Then I'll show you how to take the papers out. So we're going to sew this one together right now. We're going to do our middle piece right here. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to do this one first. No, I want my 2 blacks. Yeah, here. Kind of have to keep your diagram there so you know what you're doing. Don't lose sight. Since I have different colored ones, and I kind of have a plan to my method to my madness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this very first one, and you want to sew it like you do anything, right sides together. And I always like to start on the right and go to the left. And then when we want to put the next one on, I can keep going. So always start. Now the best thing that I learned at my class, you kind of get your hand in a cramp when you hold this for so long. And they have made little, they call them sew tights, SEWTITES. I don't know if Paper Pieces sells them. I'm sure they do. But of course, it's a magnet, so it comes apart. And you just take your magnet, place it there, and put the other part back there, and boy, there it grabs. And there you can loosen up your hold on it. You don't have to hold it so tight. And it just helps that cramping in your hand. Now for you young girls, maybe that won't happen, but for us older ladies with arthritis in our hands, that can definitely happen. Now, your thread. Ordinarily, and I recommend cotton thread. And not a real thick thread, not a quilting thread, a number 40, maybe a 50 or a 60. But because I had it and had no use for it, I thought I'd try this rayon thread out, and it's working pretty good. It's pretty fine. And the needle I got from that class I went to, I had plenty of needles, but this has got a bigger eye in it, and oh my, it's wonderful. And so I would recommend about that size, if you can tell. It's not real long, but yet long enough. Okay, when you start English paper piecing, you want your corners really secure. And you can go up kind of up this way. It won't hide your thread all that much, but it does a little bit. See, I kind of went up in the corner. And now I'm ready. And in English paper piecing, you want to take as thin of a little bite as possible. Just ever so small. And then you want to do what we call a knicker knot. This is from Sue Daly. And you take this thread that's over to this side, you pass it under your needle and then hold it with your thumb. Then take and always keep your tail long so you don't lose your thread. That's so aggravating. Take these two threads and go the opposite way behind your needle. Okay? Then pull it through and you have a very, very secure knot. Now let's do it again. We want to do at least 2 of them. Behind the needle, behind in the opposite direction. It doesn't matter which way you go the first time. Just go the opposite the second time, okay? And then you're just going to take little bites. And see, I know you can't tell, but I only have pretty small threads up there. I'm not just digging in. I'm trying to catch the very top of my pieces. And if you're pretty good at this, you can make about 20 stitches across. As close together as you want. Don't go real far apart because it won't hold. And if you've done your gluing properly, your paper is not up at the top, and you won't be digging into that paper. You might have to go back in a couple of times to get that back piece. And like I say, I can sit at night and watch TV and do this for hours. It's very relaxing to me, but hand quilting is relaxing to me. So if you're one of those kind that isn't your thing, I don't know that you'll like this, but I sure wish you'd try it. Now, I'm not going to make a quilt doing English paper piecing, that's for sure. They do. Oh my, they make beautiful quilts, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do something that might take 3,000 hexagons. That's just not something I'm going to do. I've made a quilt. I've made the one that goes on my dining room table here, and I made my husband's. That's a 90 by 91. But I'd much rather do 100 little things than work on a quilt for 2 years. That's just my preference. Now, when we get to the end, we're going to do the 2 double knots. And I'm not going to do all of these. I just want you to get the idea of how to do it, because it's an important step is sewing them together. And I could have done this with black thread, I guess. You know, I had my choice, but I can't tell which way that thread goes, that fabric. Okay. I'm almost there. Almost there. All right, we're at the end. And I'm going to catch both sides. And I'm going to do the knot again. Go behind your needle, hold it with your thumb, go behind your needle the opposite direction and around. And do another one. Doing this black and white isn't bad, but I sure wouldn't ever try to do a solid black one, because, oh, it's impossible. Now, instead of cutting your thread, leave it, and you're ready to do your next one. Don't worry about this part right now. Well, you know what? Let's go on and do that so I can show you. Now you say, how are you going to do that? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut my thread. Because then that way I can show you how to do the side seams. But ordinarily, you're going to do all 3 of these. Attach them right here. Well, you're going to attach them on the edges and then go back and do the side ones, okay? But for the sake of doing, okay, there. See this way, if you started over here and go, then you could attach this one and then attach this one. And that's what I would do. But I want to show you how to do the side ones because I don't have time to show you how to do everything. Okay, you've got to attach this, but you say, well, how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to fold, but you're not going to crease. You're not going to crease that. You're just going to fold it. Get your hexagon up there to the right. These corners are what's important, that they match. So get them up there, get that matched. And it just slid on me a little bit. Okay. Now, just sew from there to there. And you've got your side. But it's so much easier to me if you go on and attach all of your 3 blacks around there. But let's do one more row so you can see, and then we'll call it good. And just remember, you can always run a video back and forth and until you've got the hang of it. You can watch it 100 times if you want to. That's what's so good about a video. Okay. I'm going to go up just to hide my thread a little. Then I'm going to take my black into the other one. Now, see how my thread is over on this side, so I'm going to take it back around this way. I'm going to do the opposite this time. And then I'm going to take my 2 threads and go this way. So I just reversed it whatever side your thread happens to be on, do that. Okay, my thread's over here on the right side, so I'm going to the left. I'm going from the left to the right and pulling it up. And there's a good sturdy knot. And then here we go. Usually, it seems like all I remember in English paper piecing was the little flower garden quilt. Everything was in the circle. And you had all your different colors. That's what I remember. I guess we think of it as our grandmother's quilts. And English paper piecing is nothing like that. They make the most intricate, beautiful, oh my goodness. They make things out of alligator prints. I mean, not alligator. Well, yeah, they probably do. Animal prints. Oh goodness, they make the most beautiful things. Google it sometimes and look up all the things that they do with English paper piecing. They make the most beautiful jackets. Oh, ladies' jackets. You can buy countless books with patterns galore in it. When it sticks on the corner like that, just pull it out. I'm sitting here at my dining room table because it's my best light. My sewing room doesn't have this good a light. So, but I usually sit in my easy chair and this light hits right over my shoulder and I can sit there and watch TV and do my thing. Now, when it comes to making this and choosing your colors, whatever your kitchen scheme is, because this is for the dining room table, go with it. If you have, my sister-in-law has burgundy and yellow, or it's kind of a burgundy red and yellow, sunflowers. Just whatever your kitchen is, make it for your dining room table. It's perfect size, just perfect size for it. Okay, we're going to finish this up and then we will quit, or I will quit the video and go ahead and finish all these. And I'll cut out my piece for my backing and my batting and decide what I'm going to do for my background piece. Because I have a piece of white with chicken wire and I'm real tempted to put it under here instead of this red. So I don't know. I haven't really made up my mind yet. If you have your pieces lined up perfectly, it helps so much. You can go into them so much easier. But mine are not quite lined up quite right. One's a little higher than the other side, and I'm having to kind of dip into it, but okay, we're almost there. Don't cut too deep into it because you don't want to get a hold to your cardboard. So try real hard to, you know, some people like Sue Daly are so good. Okay, we're at our corner. Anyway, she can pick up one thread at a time. It's something else to watch her. Now see how my thread was just about ready to come out. Okay, there's one knot. I'm gonna go a little deeper. And make my second knot. Whoops, took care of that. Okay. And there we have, both sides are done. But like I say, I would do all of the edges around your center part first. Do those three. These right here on your main, we'll call this the main body. Do this and do this. And get these attached. Then you go back and do these center ones, okay? And I'm going to stop this video and I'm going to finish with my 6 pieces. And we're going to, like I say, I'm going to cut this out and I'm going to put everything together and we'll go to the sewing room and then we'll do this stitching here to show you how to do it. Thanks for watching and I'll be right back. Okie doke. I've got almost all the papers out except for 2, and I just wanted to show you that the best tool you can have to do this is your fingernail. Just run it right under that seam And I just sprayed starch on this so I could iron it, and I shouldn't have done that until after I'd gotten my paper out, because it's making it re-stick. Ordinarily, it comes right up, so don't wet it like I just did. Don't do as I say. But you just run your fingernail under there. And ordinarily it comes off real nice. But because I just sprayed it, which I shouldn't have done, I was going to get it starched before you. Then you just reach under there and pop out your paper. But it's very stuck. Don't want to jerk and pull too much, because you could pull all your seams out, and that would be bad. And the longer your papers sit, like a couple of days or so, they're real easier to get off too. And I forgot to tell you that when you buy your products or what you need, they come in these little paper packages. I think there's a package of 50 or 100 of whatever size that you order, the paper ones, along with your template. And I forgot to tell you that I did, see, this one's going much better. Just go all the way around under the edges. And then reach under there and pop it out. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is iron, because, you know, it's kind of a mess. You have to be sure and get these seams pressed back down real tightly. So that's what we're going to do, is do some good old pressing. If you have some spray starch, that's always good to use. If you don't, just spritz it with water. Just takes a minute. And then we will cut out our background. Still hadn't decided if I want the red or the white. I won't know until I put it on there, I think. Then that will kind of tell me what I want to do. Get your iron really hot so you can iron these down flat, okay? And then be sure and get those corners all seamed down. Okay, now I'm going to get my background fabric. Okay, I started, but I will start over. I wanted to show you how beautiful this is going to be. The red just made it pop, and the chicken wire didn't do a thing for it, so the chicken wire is the back. And I'm just doing a zigzag all the way around the edges, okay? I'm not going to let you watch me do that, but that's what I'm doing. I think it's a 3 and a 2-inch length. It catches both sides, and it's decorative, and it works just really good. And now I'm going to finish this. And this came out to be 13 by 20. And it's, like I said, too big for a placemat, but perfect for a table centerpiece. So let me turn the camera off, finish this, we'll put our binding on, and we're through. For those of y'all that have stayed through the whole video, I want to show you the binding is sewed on. I'm sure not going to sew it by hand and have you wait on me for that, but it's going to look like so after I've hemmed it. And I want you to look on the back. Look at the stitching. I used white in the bobbin and black on top, and it made that. I love that. I think that's so neat. It just, it makes the honeycomb, doesn't it? It's so neat. So anyway, after I wanted to show you how to attach or finish off your binding. It seems like there's 100 different ways, but I saw this on a video or somewhere, I don't know where, but it has benefited me so much, and I wanted to show you. I quit sewing way back here, so I got lots of room. Lots and lots of room. You put that down and then overlap this, and where this edge is, I'm going to cut 2.5 inches. I want 2.5 inches to meet right here. 2.5, and then I'll have 2.5 on the other side, okay? So I'm gonna cut my hands were in the way. From the edge of this, I'm going to measure, because the reason I want 2.5 is that's the width of my fabric. So 2.5 from there to there. And I'm going to cut right there. From the edge to there to the edge of there. Then you're going to do like you always do when you join. You take your strip, take this strip, and you're going to have to fold all this up, get it up here so you can work with it. No, doing it, want this one. We want this one, and we want to join this one right sides together. Okay? Then when we sew, right like that, sew a seam from there to there, and we don't need to overlap so much. Let me even that up. Try to get that even. So hard to see on this black. I'm going to have quite a time hemming it by hand, aren't I? I am. I'm going to have quite a time. Okay, I marked my seam. And now I'm pinning it. And let me see if I told you correctly. Yes. Okay, let's go sew real fast. I want you to see what a beautiful thing this is. So simple. I wish somebody would have told me this so much sooner, because I've always struggled with doing this until like I say, I don't remember who the wonderful woman was, but I sure do appreciate her. Hope you can hear the rain. We're having a wonderful rain. We haven't had rain in months and months and months. Looky there, girls. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Not an eighth of an inch off. It's just amazing. I think it's so wonderful, and I just had to show you that tip. Well, that concludes the video, and I'm going to sew this, like I say, by hand, and so it's going to have about that much showing. And won't that be just the cutest thing you ever saw? I'm so proud of it, and I'm so proud of you sticking with me clear to the end. And please make it. If you have any questions, you can always put them in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. I sure would appreciate it. And thank you so much. And remember to that spring has sprung, even though it might be just in our hearts. Thank you. God bless.